After my divorce, my parents made me sleep on the couch, calling me a disappointment compared to my brother. At least he has a stable life, they said. A week later, I pulled up in front of the neighbor's house they always admired, but not to visit. Their faces turned. You know that feeling when your own family, the people who are supposed to love you unconditionally, look at you and see nothing but failure? When they practically throw you out, only to laugh at your struggles? Well, I lived it. And let me tell you, while they were busy mocking me, I was building an empire, brick by painful brick, right under their smug noses. This isn't just a story about getting even, it's about finding your voice when everyone expects you to stay silent. The springs of this godforsaken couch still dig into my back. 3 months, Jayla, 36 years old, and this lumpy, mothball-scented sofa in my childhood home is my entire world. It's foreign, suffocating. Every creak, every muffled sound from upstairs, is a reminder of how spectacularly I crashed. And then there's my mother. Her voice, sweet like poison ivy, slithers through the living room. Jayla, honey, could you please fold up your bedding before Xavier and Riley arrive? We wouldn't want them thinking we're running a shelter here. My teeth ache from biting my tongue. A shelter. That's what I am to them. I'm wrestling the scratchy blanket when the front door opens. My brother Xavier. Perfect teeth, perfect hair, perfect life. He's all smiles, and right behind him, like a designer's shadow, is Riley, her handbag probably costing more than my entire wardrobe. Mom! Xavier swoops in for a hug, and I feel myself shrink, tucking my pillow out of sight behind the couch like some dirty secret. The house looks amazing, as always, he says, and Riley, oh Riley, she just has to add. Unlike some parts of it. Barely a whisper, but loud enough for me to hear. My mother actually laughs. A bright, genuine laugh for that. Xavier, darling, I prepared your old room for you both. Fresh sheets, everything. My old room. The one I wasn't allowed to sleep in when I came back home. They need their space, Mom had said. Oh, the golden couple gets the bedroom, while the divorced failure gets the lumpy couch. Thanks, Mom. Xavier beams, then glances at me, that familiar smirk playing on his lips. Hey, sis. Still here? And Riley, God, Riley, adjusting her diamond engagement ring so it catches the light, adds, where else would she go? I force a smile, a brittle mask. Just until I get back on my feet. It's been 3 months, my mother reminds me, as if I could ever forget. Your father and I are concerned. Just then, Dad walks in, fresh from his morning golf game. He barely even registers my presence, his face lighting up only when he sees Xavier. Son, didn't know you were coming today. Surprise visit? Had to show Mom and Dad the plans for the new dental practice. Xavier practically preens. That's my boy. Dad claps him on the back. Always planning ahead, always moving forward. Unlike. He doesn't finish, but he doesn't have to. The unspoken accusation hangs heavy in the air, a suffocating blanket woven with their disappointment. I slip out to the back porch, desperate for air that doesn't feel like judgment. Through the kitchen window, I see them gathered around the dining table, animated voices carrying as Xavier spreads out his business plans. This is what success looks like. My mother's voice, clear and sharp, cuts through the evening air. My phone buzzes. A notification from my freelance platform. Another 5-star review. Payment cleared. They don't know about my growing business. They don't ask. And honestly, I stopped trying to tell them. What was the point? Night falls, the house quiets down. Xavier and Riley retreat to my old room, my parents head upstairs. I wait until the last light goes out, then grab my jacket. The night air is crisp, a welcome slap to the face. I walk down our street, past manicured lawns, past luxury cars that mock my own battered sedan. I stop at number 42. The crown jewel of the neighborhood. 3 stories of modern architecture, floor-to-ceiling windows. Even in darkness, it screams power, commands attention. I press my palm against the cold metal gate, a slow, quiet smile spreading across my lips. My phone buzzes again. A text from Luca, my realtor. Papers are ready. Sure you want to do this? My fingers hover over the keyboard, and I look back at my parents' house, where they've relegated me to the couch, a cautionary tale for all to see. Absolutely. I type back. Time to show them what failure really looks like. Another message from Luca. Meeting tomorrow, 9 a.m. Bring the cashier's check. I take one last look at the mansion. Through the gates, I can just make out the for sale sign, barely visible in the moonlight. Soon that sign will come down. Soon they'll all see what I've been quietly building while they were busy dismissing me. My phone lights up with a final text from my mother. Don't forget to fold your bedding in the morning. The neighbors can see the couch through the window. I pocket my phone without responding and start walking back. Let them worry about what the neighbors think. Let them fret about appearances and reputations. They have no idea what's coming. The couch springs creak as I lie down, but tonight they don't bother me. Not a bit. I close my eyes, mentally counting down the days until I never have to sleep here again, until I can stand in my own home, the biggest one on the street, and watch their faces when they realize that their failure of a daughter now owns the house they've envied for years. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't served cold. Sometimes, it's built quietly, brick by brick, while they're too busy looking down their noses to even notice you rising. Riley just got promoted to senior account manager. My mother's voice rings with a kind of pride she's never used when talking about me. Isn't that wonderful, Jayla? I push my peas around my plate, feeling all eyes at the dinner table fixed on me. Congratulations, Riley. Thank you. Riley preens. The firm really values dedication and commitment. You know, sticking with things even when they get tough. The dig isn't subtle. Neither is Xavier's smirk. Speaking of work, I start. My online business has been. Oh, those little internet things. Mom waves her hand dismissively, instantly cutting me off. Thomas, did you hear about the Hendersons' new pool? I clenched my fork tighter. Another 5-figure payment had cleared this morning, but they'd rather discuss the neighbor's landscaping. Actually, I try again. I just landed a major client in. Jayla. Dad cuts in. Perhaps instead of these computer games, you should let Xavier help you find a real job at his practice. Something stable. Xavier straightens up, puffing out his chest. We could always use someone to answer phones. I make more in a week than your receptionist makes in a month. I mutter under my breath. What was that, dear? Mom's tone sharpens. Nothing. I stand up, gathering my plate. Thank you for dinner. In the kitchen I start washing dishes, but freeze when I hear my parents' voices from the dining room, clear as day. How long are we going to let her stay here? Dad sighs, a long, drawn-out sound of pure exasperation. What choice do we have? She's damaged goods now. No husband, no real job. The neighbors are starting to talk. Did you see Margaret's face when she noticed the pillow on our couch? And then Mom, quieter, but no less venomous. At least Xavier gives us something to be proud of. I set down the plate before I can break it. My hands are shaking. Grabbing my jacket, I head for the door. Where are you going? Mom calls out. For a walk. At this hour? What will people think? I let the door slam shut behind me, the answer echoing in the sudden silence. The night air helps, but my hands still tremble. I walk my usual route, my feet carrying me automatically toward the mansion. It looms ahead, its windows dark except for one. A figure moves inside, probably Luca, doing a late showing. We meet again. I jump startled. Luca steps out of the shadows, his realtor smiles softer in the street light. Checking up on your future kingdom? Just walking, I say, and then, mimicking my mother's tone perfectly. At this hour. What will people think? He laughs, and for a moment, I feel myself relax, a genuine laugh bubbling up. The paperwork's nearly ready, he says more seriously. But I have to ask, why this house? There are cheaper options that would still make your point. I think about the dining room conversation, about years of being the family disappointment, about Mom's dismissive wave, Dad's patronizing offer. Because sometimes enough isn't enough. Fair enough, Luca says, as if reading my mind. He hands me a folder. Preliminary inspection report. Thought you might want to review it before tomorrow. Our fingers brush as I take it. Thanks. You didn't have to come out here. Maybe I wanted to. His eyes meet mine, a warmth there I haven't felt in a long time. You know, there's a great coffee shop around the corner. Open late. For a moment I'm tempted, truly tempted. But then I remember the last time I trusted someone's kindness. My ex-husband's face flashes in my mind, his charm, his promises, the way he smiled while telling the divorce court I'd never amount to anything. I should head back. I say, the vulnerability replaced by a familiar armor. More dishes to wash. Luca nods, understanding in his eyes. Tomorrow then, 9 a.m. Don't forget the check. I watch him walk away, then turn back toward my parents' house. Through the window, I can see them all still at the table, a perfect family portrait, minus the black sheep. My phone buzzes. Another client request. Another opportunity they'll never acknowledge. That's fine. Let them think I spend my nights walking off shame and failure. Let them wonder why I disappear with my laptop for hours. They'll understand soon enough. Back inside, I hear Riley's voice from the kitchen, dripping with faux pity. I just feel so bad for her. 36 and sleeping on a couch. I would die. Don't worry, Xavier replies, his voice laced with arrogance. Once we're married, we'll never end up like that. I clear my throat as I enter, enjoying how they jump, startled. You're right, Riley. I say, my voice steady, my eyes meeting hers. You would die. Fortunately, I'm made of stronger stuff. Jayla, she starts, but I'm already heading to my couch. I pull out my laptop, opening the inspection report Luca gave me. The mansion's details swim before my eyes, square footage, property taxes, recent renovations. All mine soon. Bought with the money I earned while they thought I was just browsing social media. Mom walks by, tooting at my screen time. If she looked closer, she'd see 6 figures in my business account. But she doesn't look closer. None of them do. That's their mistake, not mine. I wasn't snooping. Not really. I was just looking for a spare phone charger in Dad's study when the papers fell from Xavier's folder. Loan applications, rejection letters, overdue notices, scattered across the floor like dirty secrets. My perfect brother, the successful dentist, was drowning in debt. What are you doing in here? I whirl around to find Xavier in the doorway, his face draining of color as he spots the papers at my feet. Interesting reading material, I say, picking up a bank statement. Does Riley know your practice is hemorrhaging money? Give me those. He snatches the papers, his hands trembling. This isn't what it looks like. No, because it looks like you're using Mom and Dad's house as collateral for loans they don't know about. His jaw clenches. You don't understand business. I understand fraud. I retort, my voice ice cold. Rich coming from someone who can't even afford her own place. Before I can respond, Mom calls us for Sunday brunch. Xavier shoves the papers back in their folder, his warning glare clear, keep your mouth shut. The dining room is set with Mom's best china, the set she only uses when she wants to impress. Riley sits at the table like she's posing for a magazine cover. Jayla, you could have at least dressed for brunch. Mom sighs, eyeing my casual clothes. I take my seat as Riley launches into a story about her latest client meeting, her voice dripping with self-importance. Under the table, my phone buzzes with a text from Luca. Offer accepted. Ready when you are. Speaking of success stories, Riley turns to me with a serpentine smile. Jayla, you're such a perfect example of what not to be. No offense, but your life is basically a cautionary tale. Mom laughs. Actually laughs. Riley! Xavier warns, but his fiancée continues, emboldened. I mean, imagine ending up divorced and homeless at your age. This is why I always say careers should come first, right, Evelyn? My mother nods approvingly. Riley has her priorities straight, unlike some people. Dad adds. I stand up slowly, my chair scraping against the hardwood, a sound like fingernails on a chalkboard. The entire table falls silent. You're right, Riley. I say, my voice dangerously calm. I am an example. I pull out my phone, dialing Luca's number. Hello? Yes, I'm ready to move forward with the purchase. Full asking price, cash offer. The table is utterly silent now. What purchase? Mom asks sharply, a hint of panic in her tone. I hold up a finger, continuing my conversation. Yes, I can sign this afternoon. Perfect. I hang up, a slow, triumphant smile spreading across my face as I look at their stunned expressions. Sorry, just finalizing some details on my new house. What house? Xavier's voice cracks, a raw sound of disbelief. Oh, just a little place down the street. You might know it. Number 42. Mom's fork clatters to her plate, echoing in the stunned silence. The mansion? Don't be ridiculous. Would you like to see the proof of funds? I ask, pulling the documents from my bag. Or maybe the pre-approval letter? I have them right here. All those hours on my laptop. I wasn't playing games. I was building an empire while you were busy mocking me. Riley snatches the papers, her perfectly manicured nails crumpling the edges. Her eyes widen as she reads the numbers. This isn't possible, she whispers, her voice barely audible. Funny thing about rock bottom. I say, taking back my documents. It teaches you how to climb. But that house was supposed to be in the family. Mom stammers, her face pale. It will be. I correct her, my voice soft but firm. Just not the part of the family you expected. I turn to Xavier, my gaze piercing him. By the way, brother dear, you might want to tell them about those loan applications before the bank does. The color drains completely from his face as Mom and Dad turn to him, their expressions a mixture of confusion and dawning horror. What is she talking about? I grab my bag and head for the door, pausing only to savor Riley's horrified expression, her carefully constructed world crumbling around her. Thanks for brunch. And Riley. I add, my voice sweet. You're right. Career should come first. That's exactly what I did. Outside, Luca waits in his car. Ready to sign some papers? I slide into the passenger seat, watching through the window as chaos erupts in the dining room. Xavier gesturing wildly, Mom pressing her hands to her face, Riley standing frozen, her perfect facade shattering. You know, Luca says as we pull away, a wry smile on his face. I've never seen someone buy a house out of spite before. Not spite. I correct him, a deep satisfaction filling me. Justice. He glances at me. The look on their faces must have been worth every penny. Oh, it was. I lean back, a ghost of a memory surfacing. Teenage Jayla winning first place in a state competition, only to have Xavier's second-place tennis trophy take center stage at dinner. But this isn't just about the house. No, Luca says, nodding. It's about showing them that their measuring stick was always broken. My phone lights up with another client payment notification. And sometimes the best revenge is letting people choke on their own assumptions. Luca smiles. Well then, let's go make you a homeowner. The mansion looms ahead. No longer a symbol of what I couldn't have, but a monument to what they never saw coming. Welcome to your kingdom. Luca drops the keys into my palm, the metal still warm from his hand. Want to do the honors? The front door swings open silently, revealing marble floors that stretch into infinity. Sunlight streams through floor-to-ceiling windows, painting everything in gold. My footsteps echo in the empty space. My empty space. Previous owner left some furniture. Luca says, following me inside. Said you could keep whatever you want. I run my hand along a pristine kitchen counter. It's perfect. Security systems top of the line. Here's how to. A knock at the door interrupts him. Through the glass, I see a woman in her 50s, elegant in a way that reminds me of old money. Can I help you? I ask, opening the door. I'm Rosalie. She smiles, but it doesn't quite reach her eyes. I used to own this house. Luca steps forward. Mrs. Smith, I wasn't expecting, no. You wouldn't be. She turns to me. May I come in? There are things you should know about this property. I glance at Luca, who shrugs. Your house now. We settle in the sunroom, Rosalie perching on the edge of a leather armchair like she's afraid to get too comfortable. Beautiful home, isn't it? She gazes out at the garden. I didn't want to sell it. I was forced to. Forced? I lean forward, a prickle of unease creeping up my spine. By Thomas Edwards. She watches my reaction. Your father, I believe. The room suddenly feels colder, the sunlight dimming. What are you talking about? Your father and I had some business dealings years ago. When they went south, he used certain information to pressure me into selling this house well below market value. She pulls out an envelope. He wanted it for your brother. Xavier had it all planned out. My hands shake as I read the documents she provides, emails, contracts, threats veiled as business proposals. Why are you showing me this? Because I recognize your name on the sale papers. Rosalie's smile turns sharp. And I believe in karma. Luca clears his throat. I should give you ladies some privacy. No. I say quickly. Stay, please. After Rosalie leaves, I sit in silence, processing my father's fingerprints on this house, his plans for Xavier. It's almost poetic that I bought it instead. You okay? Luca asks softly. Help me take down these drapes. We work together, pulling down heavy fabric that's blocked the light for too long. Each window we clear feels like exposing another truth. Your security code. Luca says later, programming the system. Choose something they'd never guess. I type in the date of my divorce. The day they stopped seeing me as family and started seeing me as a failure. My phone buzzes. A text from Mom. Xavier and Riley are coming for dinner tomorrow. A small engagement celebration. You'll make yourself scarce, won't you? I show Luca the message. Perfect timing. For what? For moving in. I start making calls, movers, cleaners, designers. Time to show them what scarce really looks like. Hours pass as we prep the house. I direct furniture placement, set up my home office, arrange my belongings, all the things I've stored in a rental unit while sleeping on their couch. You've been planning this for months. Luca realizes, watching me unpack boxes of high-end electronics. Since the day they relegated me to the couch. I connect my laptop to multiple monitors. Every night they thought I was out wandering. I was working, building, planning. Remind me never to underestimate you. The sun sets as we finish the main floor. Through the windows, I can see my parents' house looking suddenly small and shabby in comparison. One last thing. I pull out a small box, removing a framed photo, teenage me at my graduation, standing alone while my family clustered around Xavier in his tennis uniform. Why keep that? Luca asks. To remember why I'm here. And what I overcame. I place it on my new desk. My phone buzzes again. A message from Xavier. Mom says you're moving. Where could you possibly be going? I don't respond. Let them wonder. Let them worry. Tomorrow, they'll have their answer. Luca helps me set up the security cameras, angled perfectly to capture the street and their house. You know they're going to lose it when they realize. He says. That's the point. I stand at my front window, watching lights go out in their house. They wanted me invisible. Instead, I bought the one house they can't ignore. Dinner tomorrow should be interesting. Oh, I won't be at their dinner. I smile, thinking of the moving truck I've scheduled to arrive right when their little party begins. I'll be too busy moving into my mansion. Luca heads for the door, pausing with his hand on the knob. Need help tomorrow? Actually, I say, surprising myself. I'd like that. He grins. Then let's give them a show they'll never forget. The moving truck's engine cuts through the quiet afternoon just as cars start pulling up to my parents' house. Perfect timing. I watch from my new driveway as Riley's red BMW parks, followed by Xavier's sleek Mercedes. Ready? Luca asks, helping the movers unload. Born ready. Mom appears on her porch, champagne flute in hand. She freezes mid-sip as I direct a designer sofa through my front door. Jayla! Her voice carries across the manicured lawns. What are you doing? I wave cheerfully. Moving. Xavier and Riley emerge from the house, drawn by the commotion, their jaws dropping in perfect sync as they realize where I'm moving to. Is that? Riley squints at my new home. No. No way. I'm arranging flowers in my foyer when Mom storms in, not bothering to knock. What is the meaning of this? I believe it's called home ownership. I adjust a lily. You should close your mouth, Mom. The neighbors might see. This isn't possible. This house. You can't. Actually, I can. And I did. I hand her the couch blanket she'd given me. Won't be needing this anymore. She clutches the blanket like a lifeline. Your father will hear about this. Oh, I'm counting on it. Through the window, I see Riley confronting Xavier by his car, waving what looks like papers in his face. Their perfect engagement party dissolving into chaos. Those are private. Xavier tries to grab the documents. Private? Riley shrieks. Like the 3 maxed-out credit cards? The second mortgage? The gambling debts? Mom's face pales. What is she talking about? Ask your golden boy. I suggest, or better yet, ask Dad about his history with this house. Rosalie Smith sends her regards, by the way. The color drains completely from her face. You spoke to Rosalie? Fascinating woman, full of interesting stories about Dad's business practices. Outside, Riley throws her engagement ring at Xavier. You told me your practice was thriving. Baby, please don't baby me. I won't be dragged down by your lies. She storms off, leaving Xavier standing there as his carefully constructed facade crumbles. Mom rushes out to damage control, leaving me alone in my new home. Well, not quite alone. Wine? Luca appears with 2 glasses. God, yes! We're enjoying the show from my front window when Rosalie arrives, right on schedule. Quite the entertainment, she says, accepting a glass. Though I must say, your mother looks rather unwell. The truth often has that effect. Mom's shrill voice carries through the open window. Xavier, tell me these accusations aren't true. Mom, I can explain. Explain what? Dad appears, late from golf. What's going on? Why is Riley leaving? And why is there a moving truck? He stops, finally noticing me in the mansion's window. I raise my glass in greeting. No, he whispers, loud enough for us to hear. That's impossible. Funny, I call out. That's exactly what Mom said. He storms toward my door, but Luca meets him first. This is private property, sir. Unless you're invited, I'll have to ask you to leave. This is my daughter's house. Exactly, I say, joining them. My house, my rules, my life. Thomas! Rosalie steps forward. Lovely to see you again. It's been 5 years since you threatened to expose my late husband's affairs unless I sold this house. Dad stumbles backward. You, me? She sips her wine. Karma is a fascinating thing, isn't it? Mom appears behind him. Thomas, what is she talking about? Nothing, dear. Just business. Business. Xavier laughs bitterly. Like the business advice you gave me. Look how well that turned out. They dissolve into accusations and denials on my front lawn, the perfect family portrait shattering like dropped glass. Should we stop them? Luca asks. Let them fight, Rosalie suggests. Sometimes a family needs to break before it can heal. This family won't heal, I say, watching Mom sink onto my front steps, head in her hands. But maybe it needed to break anyway. Xavier storms off in his Mercedes. Dad follows Mom back to their house, shoulders slumped. The engagement party guests have long since fled, leaving half-empty champagne glasses and scattered congratulation cards in their wake. Well, Luca raises his glass. Here's to new beginnings and old endings, Rosalie adds. I look around my beautiful new home, then at the wreckage I've caused next door. You know what? I don't regret a single thing. Good, Rosalie smiles. Because, darling, this is just the beginning. Through the window, I watched my mother close their curtains for the first time in 20 years. Finally, she's the one hiding from the neighbor's eyes. The doorbell rings at 7 a.m. Through the security camera, I see Mom standing there, perfectly coiffed despite the early hour. Jayla, open this door immediately. I take my time walking downstairs, letting her stew. When I finally open up, she pushes past me into the foyer. We need to discuss the situation, she announces. Xavier needs this house. I nearly choke on my coffee. Excuse me? It's always been his dream home. You know that? She runs her finger along a marble counter, checking for dust. He's going through a rough patch, and this would help him get back on his feet. Like you helped me get back on my feet with a couch and contempt? That was different. You were damaged goods. I set my mug down hard. That's what you called me, right? When you thought I couldn't hear you. She has the grace to flinch. We were worried about you. No, you were worried about what the neighbors would think. There's a difference. Regardless, she straightens her spine. Xavier needs this house more than you do. Name your price. I laugh. A real, genuine laugh. It's not for sale. Don't be difficult, Jayla. This petty revenge isn't a good look. Neither is forcing Rosalie to sell through blackmail. But that didn't stop Dad. Her face goes white. That's not, you don't understand business. Actually, I do. Want to see my books? I pull out my laptop. 6-figure months, Mom. While you thought I was just a failure with a computer, I built something bigger than Xavier's practice ever was. Speaking of business, a new voice calls from the doorway. Rosalie walks in, holding a thick folder. I brought those documents we discussed. Mom's eyes narrow. What documents? Oh, just some interesting paperwork about Dad's real estate dealings, I say, taking the folder. Tax records. Shell companies. Threatening emails to other property owners. The board reviewing his broker's license would love to see these. You wouldn't dare. Try me. She grabs her purse. Your father will hear about this. Good. Tell him the statute of limitations on fraud is longer than he thinks. After she leaves, Rosalie pours us both coffee. That went well. Did you see her face when? My phone buzzes. A text from Riley. Can we talk? 20 minutes later, she's sitting in my kitchen, looking less polished than usual. Xavier lied about everything, she says. The practice is drowning in debt. He gambled away our wedding fund. And now, she twists her hands. I'm pregnant. I nearly dropped my mug. Does he know? No. And he won't. She looks up, tears in her eyes. I'm moving back home. I can't raise a child with someone who lies like breathing. Why are you telling me this? Because you were right about everything. And she swallows hard. I'm sorry for how I treated you. Before I can respond, my phone rings. It's an unknown number. Is this Jayla Edwards? A formal voice asks. This is the state licensing board. We received an anonymous tip about Thomas Edwards. I catch Rosalie's eye as I listen. She raises her coffee in a silent toast. After hanging up, I turn to Riley. There's a great OBGYN in the city. I can give you her number. Thank you. She stands to leave, pausing at the door. Your parents, they really messed up with you, didn't they? They messed up with both their kids. They just haven't realized it yet. That evening, Luca brings takeout and we go through more of Rosalie's documents. Your father's going to lose his license, he says, reading through emails. Possibly face charges. I know. Having second thoughts? I think about the couch, about years of subtle cruelty masquerading as concern, about Xavier's lies and Mom's manipulation. Not one. My phone lights up with texts from Xavier. What did you tell Riley? From Mom. The neighbors are asking questions. From Dad. The board called. We need to talk. I silence my phone and walk to the window. Next door, I can see them all in the dining room, gesturing wildly. Their perfect family dinner devolved into what looks like a war zone. You know what the best part is? I tell Luca. They did this to themselves. I just held up a mirror and bought the dream house. That too. Rosalie joins us at the window. The neighborhood association gala is next week, traditionally held in the largest home on the street. I turn to her slowly. You mean, welcome to hosting duties, darling? She grins. Shall we invite the family? Looking at their house, where their carefully constructed lives are finally catching up with them, I smile. Oh, absolutely. It would be rude not to. The gala transforms my house into something out of a magazine. Crystal chandeliers throw light across marble floors. Champagne flows freely, and the neighborhood's elite mill about in designer wear. I adjust my black suit, power clothes for a power play, and catch my reflection in a window. Gone is the woman who slept on a couch. In her place stands someone they never saw coming. Darling! Rosalie air kisses my cheek. They're here. Mom enters first, her smile brittle as glass. Dad follows, looking older than he did a week ago, probably because the licensing board suspended him pending investigation. Xavier skulks in last, alone. Jayla, Mom greets through clenched teeth. Lovely party, isn't it? Amazing what success can buy. I counter, waving over a waiter. Champagne. I'll need something stronger. Dad mutters. Thomas! A board member approaches. We missed you at the hearing yesterday. Dad pales, excusing himself quickly. Mom follows, leaving Xavier shifting awkwardly. Heard from Riley lately? I ask innocently. Don't. His face darkens. You ruined everything. Pretty sure you did that yourself. How's the practice? He grabs my arm hard. You think you're so clever? Everything okay here? Luca appears, his hand settling protectively on my back. Xavier releases me, straightening his tie. Fine, just family catching up. Speaking of catching up, I glance at my watch. It's time for the house tour. Gather around, everyone. The guests cluster in the foyer, eager to peek inside the neighborhood's crown jewel. Mom and Dad hover at the back, trying to become invisible. Welcome. I begin, microphone in hand. I'm sure many of you remember this house under its previous owner, Rosalie. I gesture to her, watching Dad flinch. She's here tonight, and she helped make this evening possible. Murmurs ripple through the crowd. Some of you might wonder how I ended up here. It's quite a story, actually. I lock eyes with my mother. It starts with a couch. The room quiets. See, when my marriage ended, my family offered me a couch to sleep on. Not my old room. That was for my brother and his now ex-fiancée. Just a couch. And daily reminders of what a disappointment I was. Mom steps forward. Jayla, don't. But here's the thing about rock bottom. When you're there, you learn who you really are. While they thought I was just a failure with a laptop, I built a 7-figure business. While they whispered about the neighbors' opinions, I planned my future. Xavier storms toward the door, but Luca blocks his path. And now, I gesture around the mansion. Now I own the house they always wanted. Funny how life works out. That's enough. Mom snaps. You're embarrassing yourself. No, Mother. For the first time, I'm not embarrassing anyone. I'm just telling the truth. Speaking of truth, I turn to the crowd. Did you know this house has quite a history of pressure sales, hidden dealings, threats? Dad lunges forward. Stop this immediately. Or what? Rosalie steps up beside me. You'll threaten me again? The guests gasp. Someone whispers about the licensing investigation. You broke me so quietly. I continue, voice steady. I learned to rebuild in silence. And now, I raise my champagne glass. Now I never have to be quiet again. Applause breaks out. Genuine, appreciative applause. Mom practically runs from the room. Dad follows, ashen-faced. Xavier remains, something dark in his eyes. The party continues, but I notice Xavier slip away toward my study. Security cameras show him rifling through my desk, looking for something. Looking for something? I ask from the doorway. He jumps, clutching papers. These prove Dad's dealings. The board, those are copies. I smile. Originals are already with the authorities. You've destroyed this family. No. I take the papers from his shaking hands. You all did that yourselves. I just stopped playing along. Later, after the guests leave, Luca helps me clean up. That was quite a speech, he says. Felt good to finally say it all. Your mother's face when you mentioned the couch. Karma is a beautiful thing. I pause, hearing movement outside. Through the window, I watch my family trudge home. Mom leaning on Dad, Xavier walking ahead alone. Their shoulders are slumped, their perfect facade finally shattered. You know, Luca says softly. You're nothing like them. Thank God for that. He takes my hand, and for the first time, I don't pull away. Stay for one more drink? I ask. I'd like that. In the kitchen, I find a note from Rosalie. Darling, you did it. You took their power and made it your own. Welcome home. I tuck the note away, pour 2 glasses of wine, and join Luca on my terrace. Below, my parents' house sits dark and quiet, its occupants finally facing the truth about themselves. Let them sit in darkness. I found my light. The doorbell rings as I'm working in my home office. Through the security camera, I see Riley looking nervous but determined. I had my first ultrasound today, she says when I let her in, pulling out a grainy black and white photo. It's a girl. Congratulations. I mean it. I'm not showing yet, but... She takes a deep breath. Your mother's been calling. Apparently Xavier told them. Of course he did. I guide her to the kitchen. They want me to give him another chance for the baby. She wraps her arms around herself. Your mom offered to pay off his debts if I come back and I said no. A small smile plays at her lips. I told her I learned from watching you that sometimes walking away is the strongest choice. The kettle whistles. How did she take that? She hung up. Then your father called, saying something about family loyalty. I hung up on him. I hand her a mug. Proud of you. That's actually why I'm here. She pulls out some papers. The DA wants me to testify about Xavier's financial dealings. About what I knew when I knew it. Are you going to? Already did this morning. She meets my eyes. Your father's being indicted next week. I thought you should know. As if on cue, tires screech outside. Dad storms up my driveway, face purple with rage. Security systems armed. I tell Riley as he pounds on the door. He can't get in. You, he shouts through the glass. You turned everyone against me. Your own father. No. I call back. Your actions did that. I built everything we had. Everything through fraud and threats. I step closer to the door. How's that working out? Mom appears behind him, trying to pull him away. Xavier's car screeches up. Dad, stop. The neighbors are watching. I laugh, still worried about the neighbors. Mom, she freezes. For the first time, I see something like understanding cross her face. Thomas, she says quietly. Let's go home. Not until it's over. Her voice cracks. We did this. All of it. Dad deflates suddenly, aging years in seconds. Xavier stands there, lost as his perfect world crumbles completely. Riley? He spots her through the window. Baby, please. Goodbye, Xavier. She turns away, one hand protectively over her stomach. They leave slowly, a funeral procession of their own making. Through the window, I watch them return to their house, the house that once felt like a prison to me. You okay? Riley asks softly. Better than okay. My phone buzzes. Luca, dinner tonight? Yes. I text back, then turn to Riley. Stay for lunch. We can talk about single mom life, business strategies, whatever you need. I'd like that. She manages a real smile. You know, I used to think you were the cautionary tale. Turns out, you were the wake-up call we all needed. The afternoon sun streams through my windows as we talk. Outside, I see Rosalie walking her dog, waving as she passes my parents' house. Mom peers through their curtains, but doesn't wave back. Your daughter, I tell Riley, is going to have a much better example than we did. Speaking of examples, she nods toward Luca's car pulling up. He's good for you. We're taking it slow. I watch him walk up with takeout bags. Building something real this time, unlike everything they built. She gestures next door. Exactly. Later, after Riley leaves, I curl up in my sunroom, my favorite spot in the house. Through the windows, I can see my parents' place, dark except for the blue flicker of TV light. Luca joins me, his presence comfortable now. Heard about your father's indictment. Karma comes for everyone eventually. You're not sad about it? I'm sad about who they chose to be. I say. Not about the consequences. He takes my hand, and I let myself lean into him. Outside, Xavier's car starts up, probably heading to another bar. Mom's silhouette appears in their window, then vanishes. Let them hide behind their curtains now. Let them whisper and worry and wonder where they went wrong. I've got sunshine, success, and something real growing with Luca. I've got Riley's friendship and Rosalie's wisdom, and a home that's truly mine. Most importantly, I've got myself, stronger and clearer than ever before. They wanted me invisible. Instead, I became unavoidable. They wanted me quiet. Instead, I spoke truth to power. They wanted me broken. Instead, I built an empire. And from my sunroom couch, so different from the one they relegated me to, I can finally say, I won.